Yeah,
Look at his face.
yeah. Too up, too down.
Look at his
Hey,
face.
yeah.
Money.
Yeah, I wanted the crown and to be celebrated. I rented a tux and I ordered a mink. Stood in the mirror like mama, I made it. Proceeded to brush in the teeth in the sink. Caught me a grill and I'm so melanated. I polished the chain, I ain't gold in the link. And I got me a baby who gave me some babies. I'm raising a lady and building a king. Too cold, you too busy running with another man lane, I guess. Yeah, too bold. I be running on the one way, never change my set. Like, I don't ever use my signals. Yeah, I be in the lane myself. Yeah, I don't gotta change my mental. Yeah. And I ain't gotta chase my wealth, and I accept my daddy got a kingdom, and everything I ever got is his. If I ever got a problem, I'ma seek him. I never doubt him. Been about his biz, oh man, been there. I ain't gotta ride on the wave when the ocean is his. Close with the kid with a
What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
What it do, baby? It's your partners Dale and Cliff back in the saddle again for another edition of Real Estate Friday Training. Cliff, what it do, baby? How you feeling today?
Man, feeling good. It's a good week. You know, we got the markets and a little bit of turmoil, going up and down. But hey, man, there's always an opportunity. How was your week?
It was cool, man. My week was interesting, man. Ups and downs, which is cool, man. That's part of doing real estate as it is, man. But bro, we did get the bag. That's for sure. We got the bag. And so, but at the exact same time, man, it was, I ain't gonna lie to you. I'll be transparent with everybody. The last 2 weeks in business has been a little bit challenging because I'm negotiating several different deals at one time, internationally, domestically, new construction, single family residences, refinances, onboarding when it comes to property manager, just dealing with different uh, um, um, sections of real estate and also private equity finance as well, raising capital for our entire operations, making good decisions there, man. So it's been a very interesting, challenging, but rewarding 2 weeks, man. How about you, big dog?
Yeah, it's the same thing, man. Um just viewing the market, man, I'm starting to notice that, back I think I had mentioned to you before, I'm seeing um an opportunity back where back in my college town, man. Back there,
Yeah,
man. I'm seeing the prices come down a little bit, man. So
yeah.
um somebody I had knew before, knew I did real estate, reached out to me. So I'm trying to look at it, see, make something happen back then. So
Yeah, man. That's what's up there, baby. Hey, that's why you from Louisiana, baby. That's a lot of opportunity in Louisiana. A lot.
yeah, so I'm looking out there, man, and seeing what we can do. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity right now. But just to give you guys a snapshot of what normally I'm taking a look at the market on a weekly basis, trying to see where we at, what's happening. Uh, Really, it's the same thing as last week. We're starting to see a slight decrease in prices.
Yeah,
By far, since the inflation about a year and a half ago at
yeah,
its peak, it has been coming down
yeah,
drastically,
yeah,
and I'm continuing to see that people are kind of not figuring out that, hey, prices are coming down. There aren't as many comparables on the market,
yeah,
and those comparables are coming in lower. I'm consistently seeing under list price.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, I even had a property that I'm looking at in DeSoto that I was appraising, and even them, they originally had 430, sold for 420 or
yeah,
410.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm starting to see that a little bit more. I think until rates get cut, we're going to continue to see this, and then once they get cut, we'll see more people come back in the market.
I can see that when it comes to that. I'm seeing the same thing here locally as well as in other states. Prices are coming down because the cost of living is still going up. Wages have plateaued, right? So inflation is outpacing wage growth. People's credit card debt is higher than their savings. That's very That's not really a favorable thing when it comes to some people trying to borrow money to acquire real estate, whether it be from a investment standpoint or from a retail standpoint. Really on the retail side, because the DTI is high, guys, and so you're beginning to see a lot of maneuvering from the Fed and the legislative branch when it comes to the power of the purse and the lending out there. I am beginning to see even more 100% financing, which is senior junior debt type of scenarios. And the junior debt is interesting, Cliff. If it's 95, 5, 80, 20, 9, 90, 10, 96 and a half, 3.5, what they're doing is they're giving that second in the form of debt with like a 2 or 3% interest rate, right? Then what they're doing is if you pay faithfully for 10 years, it's forgiven. Now, the good thing about that is this here is most in interest when it comes to mortgages is actually paid in the first 7 years. So the money has been paid back. And they made some interest in the last 3 years as well also. But at the exact same time, the problem with that is that senior debt is 6.75 to 7.5 with a 720 or above credit score.
Right.
So if you look at those two, and I'm gonna use 7% and 2%, you're paying 9% for a senior junior debt. 9%. That's high because people's DTI is high, their savings is low, so therefore, how can they afford that payment? Now, when it comes to properties $350,000 and below, those are still selling like hotcakes because you get the bottom of the barrel. But anything over $350,000, $400,000, there's some loan deals in the market. You agree with me? You disagree?
Yeah. Days on market are going up. But I think we're at the bottom. I've been saying that for probably the last 3 months. I
Okay.
think this is the bottom because unemployment is starting to creep up. So
Mhm.
the Fed has a dual mandate,
Yeah.
stable prices and unemployment.
Yeah.
And so they've somewhat stabilized. We've had consistent, at where, inflation's been where we're at for a past couple months, slightly decreased, but nothing too bad. But
Mhm.
unemployment's going up. So I think right now is their equilibrium. They're
Gotcha.
signaling they're gonna cut.
Gotcha. Well, I'm seeing the signaling. My pause on the cut is, and I'm leaning back on some history, Cliff, is
Hmm.
they've been saying this for the last 2 or 3 years. We're going to cut. We're going to cut. We're going to cut. 2024. We're going to have 6 cuts. Well, there's been 0 cuts, and so I am not putting any type of heavy weight on what they're saying when it comes to cutting the rates. Can they? Sure. If they do, it's probably a quarter of a point. I believe if they do it that small, because of the variables of inflation rate high, wage growth plateaued,
Hmm.
um, credit card debt high, savings low. That's not going to move the needle at all, because of the fact that we're still, again, they haven't spent the CHIP Act and the Inflation Production Act money yet. That money's still sitting on the sidelines. I agree with you what you were saying last week concerning that can be rearranged to go somewhere else. But until an administration is changed, it's not going to happen at all. And it's just if they cut too soon, there could be a whiplash type of effect when it comes to the economy. You agree or disagree?
Now, I mean, I agree. I think but they have to cut. I mean, let's be honest.
Why do they have
I
to
called
cut?
it. I was wrong. I was wrong a long time ago. I called it April, May.
He did, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
and so that's completely we were completely off. I thought we would cut a lot sooner. There was taking a while to get here, but I think at some point they're going to. Um, and there's to me, we're going into a new rate environment where I think that depending on, like you said, if they cut, it's a quarter point, which is not going to change the market. But what I think people will bet on is the idea that there are going to be other cuts after it. To
Sure.
me, they're going to cut anywhere from because I'm looking at the Fed calendar. So
Okay.
they're calling September, right?
Okay.
Um, and it's going to be on the 17th, 18th, so
7, 18.
mid month,
Okay.
right?
Okay. Okay.
But then the next one's not until November.
Really?
if they cut again, so like you said, it'll probably November that they'll make a second cut, and it'll be at that point. And let's be honest, look at this, Dale.
Mhm.
It's set for November 6th.
November the 6th.
Yep. That right after the election, they're cutting.
It depends. I would say this. It depends on who wins, because
I can see that.
President Trump is floating the idea of having Jamie Dimon as the Fed chairman. That is major news. Jamie Dimon as the Fed chairman, letting go of Powell and bringing in Jamie Dimon. Will he accept? I don't know, but I believe he would, because that's the last type of position that Jamie Dimon will probably want to do, because it's a legacy play for him.
Oh yeah, it ain't money.
Yeah.
He billionaire. It ain't money.
He's. I mean, he's playing. I mean, when Jamie Dimon speaks, the entire global economy moves.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be very interesting. The next, what is this? 5 months to the end of the year. I mean, there's 4 meetings left and 3 opportunities to cut.
Okay.
So, but you may be right that they may say, we ain't cutting until November after the election, so we can keep our hands off.
That's what I'm thinking they would. If I were to bet on a cut, I would bet on that move, because right now the Fed has a lot of PR power right now. They have great economic power, but they have a lot of PR power right now, and they tend to try to not be involved in the politics, but they can be persuaded by the politics. They can.
Oh yeah, everybody does. You human being, you're gonna be swayed one way or another. They say they won't, but you're right. To even appear hands off, why not wait one more meeting, and then the election's done? Now we can cut freely.
Why not? If you have it for September, wait another month and a half. Election's over. You know who's actually won. Then you say we're gonna cut the rates, because Trump has came out and said that he wants to drill, baby, drill. Now, how will that actually help the economy? Well, number one, petroleum and natural gas and fossil fuels is our most valuable asset. And I don't know if you saw in the news that I think President Biden, Saudi Arabia did not renew the OPEC agreement for the petrodollar. They didn't renew it at all. They said no. So therefore, they are accepting the China currency, the Russia currency. They're taking individual currency, and they're kind of in line a little bit with the BRICS organization. And so when Biden actually turned the commodities industry into the wild, wild west, this is what actually happened. It begins to destabilize the global economy, which I believe that was the intention.
Yeah, it's hard. It's just, to me, it's just not good business sense.
No.
You want to bring costs down. And the truth is that what they want to do, a lot of, especially people who want to get rid of fossil fuels and all that, they don't understand that if you were to reduce those down, you just increase the cost for those, because we still run on them. We're going to be on fossil fuels for a minimum 20 years.
Of course.
It's going to take that long to even get rid of most of the cars and switch them to EVs. And EVs still have a lot of issues that we haven't solved yet. If you want to fill up your car, electricity, that takes an hour, 45 minutes. There's no way that that's going to work for somebody who's late for work, needs to get gas right quick. They take 5 minutes. They can't stop and fill up their car for 45 minutes.
They can't.
Or think of a natural disaster where the lines get filled up, and then we're not there yet. We have a long way to go. So until then, we gotta burn fossil fuels in order to get there. So I think you're right.
And fossil fuels, it auto renews itself, because you probably never run out of fossil fuels because it's in the ground. We're swimming in it.
And like you said, we have so much, and think how more efficient we are. Look at the cars. We're getting 30, 40 miles to the gallon now. If we keep getting more efficient, it could be in 5 years, 10 years that they're getting 50, 60 miles to the gallon.
Correct.
So it's way more efficient.
A lot more efficient, man. So that actually makes a lot of sense, guys. Just want to come on and kind of get me and Cliff kind of go back and forth when it comes to the Fed interest rate cut. We agree
Yeah.
that the best way from a PR standpoint for the Fed is to cut it after the election. And they already have it on their calendar for November the 6th.
Yep.
You best believe. I don't think they're going to cut it in September. They're going to say they're going to come out and say, the Fed chairman, we see inflation is too aggressive right now for us to cut rates. We're going to wait.
Yeah.
We're going to wait till November.
They could easily do that, or in the worst, I'm thinking the best case scenario, they may say we've decided to do a quarter point.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be nothing anyway. It's like, okay.
Nothing. So they could probably to make themselves look good on one political aisle do the quarter point and the other aisle do the quarter point. But if they really want to be kind of centralized, I would wait till November. Till what actually happens. That's what I would wait, man. So again, this is me and Cliff, man. We go back and forth concerning this interest rate thing as well, guys. But it's all about giving you guys information so that you can actually read what someone is saying, what they're doing, and for you to begin to listen to candidates, whether they're running for city council, mayor, a county judge, or mayor for where you're at, state office, governor, or for a federal office. You know what questions to ask, because the number one issue that is on the plate right now, in my opinion, is the economy. Would you agree, Cliff?
Yeah. And they're going to try to make you forget about it as much as they can, because the economy's bad. I mean, and they're not going down. They're just not going up as fast as they were.
Correct. Yes, sir, man. Let's jump into this, man, guys. Cliff, I actually ran into this, man. It was kind of interesting. I was listening to one of my favorite shows, Valuetainment, the PBD podcast, and they were talking about evictions, right? Skyrocket as Bidenomics, what they said, destroys the middle class. So in other words, inflation is destroying the middle class. And they gave some numbers, Cliff. And I just said, this is interesting. Let's see what's going on. Then you and I can respond. All right. Here we go. Let's see what's going on. Here we go.
With economy, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on with economy right now. Tom, I want to kind of start off with you on almost 4 in 10 Americans worry about paying bills, and numbers surpassing Great Recession era. 4 in 10 worry about paying bills at the levels of pre-recession era. So what does this mean, and how many people are going through this today? Let me read this to you. 40% of American adults worry about paying their bills, with one resident, Angela Russell, noting the grocery store is just outrageous right now. Everything has gone up, clothing, my insurance. This concern suppresses levels seen during the 2008 Great Recession, where 37% were worried. We're talking about 16 years ago, Tom. Total household debt in the U.S. reached a record $17.69 trillion in early 2024, a 1.1% increase from the previous quarter. Greg McBride, chief financial analyst at Bankrate, emphasized that moderating inflation doesn't mean prices are coming down. They just aren't going up as fast. More than a quarter of Americans have resorted to skipping meals due to high grocery costs, with 80% feeling a notable increase in prices. Many are spending 60% of their monthly income on essential expenses, indicating significant financial pressure despite the growing economy and low unemployment rates. Tom.
So there's two things going on here, and we have been talking about it, and we've been encouraging people, hey, look, you know what, a side hustle, living conservatively, that's kind of the tools you have to fight against this. But it is not surprising that now the surveys are coming out. Everybody was ignoring it when we were talking about it, and the news would be out there. Wall Street Journal talked about it, Barron's talked about it, that there is 1.1 to 1.2 trillion in credit card, meaning there's people have less space on their credit card to buy something for an emergency, because they're adding to the credit card every month on groceries and things. Oh my gosh, if you're paying your power bill, your cable bill, and groceries on a credit card because you can't pay it at the end of the month, oh my gosh, no wonder that more than a quarter of Americans are saying, hey, we're going to skip a meal, we're not going to go out to dinner, whatever it is.
Cereal.
So yeah. And then the whatever it was, General Mills CEO, whoever that guy was, that said, hey, cereal for dinner, let's try that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, ramen noodles, just like we're all in college again. So number one, the Biden economy is just as bad, and as we've been saying it, the cumulative inflation of 30% is now showing up as people are screaming, and the higher rents thanks to inflation are causing people to get evicted. Right now, the middle class is in the middle of a freaking apocalypse, and the apocalypse is the Biden economy. And we're going to talk about it later today, but it really pisses me off that right now with the presumptive Harris candidacy, they're talking about, oh, everybody talks about Harris as not being fair and everything. I'll tell you what I want to talk about is very fair. I want to talk about her economic record. I want to talk about what she did in California. I want to talk about what she has for Americans here, because people are hurting and they need freaking help.
Let's stay on this. High rents cause evictions to spike by 35% in pandemic.
So Cliff, man, while they're doing that real fast, man, what's your thought process, man, concerning the middle class getting pinched severely by inflation?
They wanted handouts, and this is the result.
Mm.
The handouts were during the pandemic when we did a lot of programs.
Yep.
And direct deposits. Everybody, a lot of people got direct deposit. And so when you flood the market like that, and it's all fake money, we don't have that money. It didn't come from a bank account. It was printed.
Yeah.
So the question you want to go to everybody else is to say, you got your 1,000, 2,000, however much money you got.
Yeah.
Was that worth prices going up 40, 50%?
Mm.
I would say no. I would say people would turn down the money so that prices would stay stable. I think it's gonna be tough for a while. We're gonna have to grow out of this. There's no other way around it. Like, we're gonna have to get the economy up and running again. Money has to start flowing again, and people have to start feeling wealthy again. But they can't do that when interest rates are high, government spending is high, and activity is low.
Yeah, I love that you said organic marketplace cash flow.
Mhm.
All we've been surviving on is manufactured cash flow, i.e., the government printing money out. And when that actually happens, you create inflation because there's too much fake currency flowing to too few goods. And people are having to make decisions on what to eat. As he just said in that video, he was talking about people are skipping meals because they can't afford to buy groceries. They're having to choose either this and this. In other words, they may be saying skip meals mean that, guys, we normally go out on Friday. We're not going out on Friday because we can't afford it right now. So they're making decisions like that. And that's fine. But because of the economy is so flooded with so much fake currency, this is the natural consequence of this thing, as Cliff just said. Now, let's dive, Cliff, into another thing. He's talking about now, he's going to be talking about evictions. Now, watch this, guys. Then we're going to pivot over to how this is going to be a good move for investors, unfortunately, real estate. Here we go.
Pandemic boom towns. Have you guys ever experienced being evicted? Have you ever experienced being evicted?
It's humiliating. It's terrible.
It's one, humiliating, and not only humiliating. Imagine you're married. You have to go to your wife and say, can't afford to pay for it. Imagine you're going back to your family saying, hey, man, I can't pay for it. Can I come back and move back with the family or friends or a couch? Now, people go through different financial difficulties, but these numbers here, just to kind of give you an idea.
35%?
Eviction and pandemic boom towns have surged by 35% compared to pre-pandemic levels, driven by high rents as a result of pandemic-induced migration to the Sun Belt. Cities like Nashville, Fort Worth, Jacksonville have experienced evictions increases in 31%, 25%, and 14% respectively.
He said Fort Worth, Cliff. He said Fort Worth. This is Texas.
The rent spikes were fueled by the influx of new residents during the pandemic, which outpaced the earning of local residents, according to Realtor.com. Rent increases peaked at 17% year over year in early 2022, particularly in Sunbelt cities. Although the rental market is still challenging for lower income renters, recent trends show a decrease in rent prices in Sunbelt. Austin, Texas saw the largest drop at 6.6% in April, while Nashville and Jacksonville reported declines of 5.9 and 5.6%. Adam, thoughts on this?
Look, times are tough, man. We've seen since.
So they're going a little bit of a diatribe. He mentioned a couple of Texas cities, Cliff.
Yeah.
Texas cities in what he was saying. Now, you as a licensed appraiser, you able to see information that the normal person cannot see, correct?
hmm
Or are you seeing this exact same type of information when you're appraising properties at all?
So I've seen more REOs start popping up.
Oh,
The bank has a certain type of appraising product that they have for that, right? It's a type of form that they use. But yeah, I'm starting to see more REOs. I actually got one this week for an REO. I got one last week. So I'm starting to see those pop up a little bit more. I haven't done as many rental analysis,
yeah,
so I haven't seen that lately, but I have seen REOs start popping up. And so it, if you can look at the unemployment rate's ticking up. And
yeah,
so, and what's happening in Austin, what he's talking about, that was a number of things. The reason why they say it's dropped is because it was from a peak. That was during the pandemic. All those big corporations were moving to Austin,
yes, there were.
and everybody was moving there. Right, prices were going crazy, and now that's slowed, and so you're going to see a pullback in that. Now I have seen it even with my own rental property. I have a property that my tenant's actually moving out, so we're going to do a turnover uh and see what we're going to do with that. And rent
Yeah,
rates have came down. Just me doing my analysis there, it came down a little bit. It's not as as at the peak that it was. So I'm
yeah,
starting to see what they're saying. I'm seeing what they're
yeah.
saying.
It's this is the fruits of inflation, guys. Inflation. People are trying to make ends meet. You have family members moving in together, right? To be able to sustain the payment, right? I'm seeing in my area properties that would normally sell or getting decreased as far as price point, 50,000, 60,000, 30,000. Where in the past they will stay firm where they're at. So I would tell everybody, if you are going to sell your house, you better be damn sure that you are producing the most value in the subdivision. I was talking to a friend of mine who was actually a realtor here locally, very successful one, and he said that they are having properties on their team selling in the market for a long period of time, and they're having to slice these price points 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 just to get them to even move. So if you're going to put your property up on for sale, you better be sure that this your property has the most value proposition for a retail buyer to come in and say, okay, I'll buy yours, because you best believe around the corner they have a lot of competition coming up potentially. If that's the case, you agree, Cliff? You disagree?
No, I agree. Um, it's a different market again, man. Since the pandemic, we've had basically 4 years of unprecedented type of markets,
Yes.
from a huge boom during the pandemic where valuations were getting crazy to a huge bust where properties and rental prices are dropping back down,
Yeah.
and high interest rate. I mean, this is you got to understand, the past 30 years were not like this.
No, not at all. At all, guys. It can be, from a retail standpoint, it can be a kind of a scary time in real estate, and I want to be sensitive to that. But also, guys, when it comes to investors, this should be a very exciting time as well, also, because it's a buyer's market and you are a buyer. And so that is why we pivot to the real estate investment counter move. Cliff mentioned a term, REO. Cliff, what does that mean?
Real estate owned. So that just means it's basically the bank's taking it back.
So basically foreclosures, correct?
hmm
And you're beginning to see that uptick on the market, correct?
Yeah, I'm starting to see a little bit more of it.
Will that negatively affect sales prices and property values, or positively affect sales prices and property values?
More, it's most likely going to be negative, right?
Mm.
You see a lot of foreclosures going on in your neighborhood. That's quick sales. Yeah, so most likely it's gonna be negatively impact. So it's a crazy market.
It is.
It's a crazy market, but I think next year will be better than this year.
I think it will as well, also. To me, like I said, it depends upon the election because you have two different economic mentalities that are running from the local, state, and federal standpoint. So it really depends on that whole thing as well, because of the fact that this has just what it's been doing so far has just really hurt a lot of people. But guys, I would say this is when you become a negotiating hawk. This is when you can say, you know what? I know you want 100,000 for this property. Nope, I want 75,000 for it. Now they may say no, but you have the luxury of standing firm because ain't nobody gonna come buy the property for $100,000 if it's not the best value in the subdivision. Not at all, at all. Cliff, we're buying property in Jackson, Mississippi, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We're getting properties for below wholesale. Am I right?
Right.
Below wholesale. We're increasing the value, and the profit margin is pretty crazy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's because we don't understand how to find, right, vet, as well as structure a property, correct?
Right.
So, therefore, if you buy right, what's the likelihood of you buying a bad deal if you know what you're doing?
Yeah, if you're buying right, you're starting off the investment the correct way. So you have a very low chance of messing it up. I always have a saying: if you're buying 50% off, it's hard to go wrong.
Yes, sir. And Kevin Hart want to come in, y'all, and let you know how he feels when we buy right. All right.
Bad. Yeah.
That's how me and Cliff be feeling when we get a property. We say, all right, all right, all right. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yep.
And then, guys, when we close, right, on the refi or the sale, we got to bring in somebody else also that as we're leaving the close sale. This is what we be saying as well, guys.
My man. My man. My man. My man. My man. Good for you. My man.
Yes, sir, my man. Every single time, guys. That's when you actually buy right. That is the reason why. Cliff, let me ask you this question real fast, Cliff. How many investors do you know actually know how to buy real estate the right way?
Most don't. I don't.
Why?
A lot. I think it's like a lot of situations. They don't understand everything that goes into it,
Hmm.
and they underestimate how much real estate is probably one of the most capital intensive investments
Mhm.
you can do. You're talking about you're start talking in tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hmm.
So this isn't like, oh, I'm doing a car and I'm gonna flip a car or anything like that. When you're talking about a real estate deal, you're talking about 20, 30, 40, $50,000. And so they underestimate things and they don't understand what they're getting into. So that naivete, right, just not understanding is what destroys them. Where they think it's a $20,000 rehab and it's a $40,000 rehab, and they didn't buy right, and they don't
Mm.
realize and then once they get into the deal, more things go wrong, and they underestimate it.
I agree. I think that most investors drop the ball, Cliff, primarily on a fix and flip or fix and renovate scenario and refi scenario because they don't know their numbers when it comes to the scope of work, how to increase the value of said property. And so you buy the property incorrect, then you have the scope of work that's done incorrect. So therefore, when you get to the end of your money, because you borrowed the debt to acquire and to renovate, the property's only halfway done. We see so many properties, guys, to where we walk in, we're like, wait a minute, we know in seconds someone ran out of money. Someone ran out of money
Oh yeah,
because of the fact that stuff ain't done, and that's normal. Is that right, Cliff?
you're right. Yeah, that happens all the time. I walk into houses all the time. I can immediately tell you ran out of money.
Yeah,
And you can't. They they always think they can get it done cheaper. You should never go in and think you can get it done cheaper unless you know
never.
what you are doing. Like you have a team you've worked with before. You got uh, 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 unless you have experience, this ain't your first one. If it's your first one, you should be doubling your budget just in case.
Yep. People that don't know the numbers, this is what we say to them when they come to us asking us for counsel.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
That's what we say. What is this? What is this? These numbers is trash. So it didn't make any sense. We were doing a masterclass, Cliff, a couple months ago, and we're going to begin doing masterclass again, guys. It's been a very, very busy summer for us. But one of the students brought a property to the table, and we looked at it live on the masterclass. Cliff asked him one question: How much for the renovation? The dude said $15,000. Cliff said, "You don't know your numbers. There's no way. $15,000 is just paint. Paint on that side of the house. Paint, maybe some look carpet."
Right.
And he was like, "What?" He's like, "You probably need to double that up and probably add another $10,000 on top of that." He was like, "That's $40,000 exactly. 40 grand. The house is on 1,200 square feet. I understand. But the cost of goods is higher. Your labor cost is going to be higher. So therefore, your bait has to be higher." Am I right, Cliff? Or am I wrong?
Yeah. I mean, you're thinking you could do it cheaper, and then you don't realize until you start getting bids and stuff come back, or you might even get somebody who gives you a bid, and when that's another mistake where they get 3-4 bids and they go the cheapest. And what they don't understand is contractors will give you a good number so that they can get into the deal and then raise the price on you and go, well, we thought we get the materials cheaper. Well, I thought my plumber would do it for $2,000. He wants 3,500. And when you add that up along a line item list, next thing you know, you're up 15K more than you thought.
I agree, Cliff. You say that whenever it comes to a renovation, there's in a GC, there's three things that you will want to get, but out of those three, you only get two of them. What are those three things?
The three things.
Yeah, you said time.
Oh,
speed, and then what you said is time, speed, and pricing. Am I right?
Well, yeah. It's quality, speed, and price.
And you're gonna choose two. Am I right?
Pick two. And I typically go with I pick price and quality, and I'll sacrifice speed. I'm okay taking an extra 2 or 3 weeks because we're doing it cheap, and so I sacrifice that. That's what I need because for most deals you do have to do it cost effectively. You cannot overspend because it's too hard to negotiate such a good deal for you to overspend on the rehab and then not make it work.
Correct. That is correct. But when me and Cliff first met, we talked about those three things. Because I would get frustrated. I'm like, man, it's taking too damn long. Cliff's like, that's okay. We got the right price and look at the quality. Be okay with the speed not being there. Just take an extra 2 or 3 weeks and you'll be good. You'll be good. And on these properties that we've done in Jackson, right? We sacrificed speed for quality and pricing. One property, we anticipated it to be a certain price point, but after having a second eyes look at it, like, no, double that. And we doubled the entire budget because of the fact that it needed so much work. But we bought it at such a good price point. We're still netting a nice amount of yield, 20%, 30% yield, still on the back because we knew how to buy the property right. These are the type of deals that are coming, guys. Whenever you see REO showing up, which is driving property values down, which is going to drive sales prices down, you can begin to negotiate. And again, we never buy retail. Why?
No, you can't.
That made no damn sense at all. You agree, Cliff?
Yeah. It depends on your situation.
Sure.
For most people who are trying to get into real estate, their biggest thing is they don't have money. They're trying to generate money from real estate. And so you have to do no money down and creative deals in order to make it work.
Correct.
And that takes the skill set of finding deals at a good enough price, negotiating. it takes all these different skill sets. And my whole thing is that's why we have the coaching that we do is because you could either go in the wild and learn how to hunt, or you can come with hunters who already know how to do it.
Yes, that is the reason why I respect Ray Lewis, who played for the Baltimore Ravens, because of the fact that him and Ed Reed were always hunting on the football field, hunting. And people would love to play with Ed Reed and Ray Lewis because they were such great teachers. Guys, me and Cliff have made a lot of mistakes. We've made a lot of money. We own a lot of real estate. We're pulled in several different directions. We're always trying to maximize our time management, but we know what to do or what not to do. This is the reason why we designed the Cash Flow Club. Why? We wanted you to have on-demand training for real estate investing. Our philosophy is very simple. If we can teach you how to find a deal, vet a deal, structure the deal the right way with the right wise counsel, we will fund your deal and profit share with you. Cliff, we never had this growing up. We had to figure it out on our own. Am I right, Cliff?
Oh yeah. I'm amazed. I mean, for $100 a month to be able to get the coaching, the training, we do a coaching call. Um, you get all the information about what you're doing, and
Wow.
it takes one deal, and it's $100 a month, and the amount of information. I wish, that would have saved me a lot of time.
Oh my God, man. Oh my man. I would have saved so much time, man, if I had somebody that can walk me through it. Because back in the day, you had gatekeepers. People didn't want to share any information.
Hmm.
Now everybody's sharing. So again, if you don't want to partner with us, that's fine. You're welcome. Just get educated, no matter if it's us or somebody else. But I can guarantee you this: not everybody online is offering to fund your deal too. Not everybody at all. But that's it, Cliff. You want to say anything, man, before we get off, brother?
Nah, man, same thing every week, man. Just you're one deal away. Keep looking. There's ways to get it done, and you just got to find out which system works best for you.
Yes, sir. And guys, we do got some merch, man. We call I Got That Bag University, baby. Get your shirt, baby, right there, man. I owe my man Darren a link. He want to buy some merch. Darren, I got you, big dog. And we got that in short sleeve. We also have the bag and a hoodie as well. And we have also I Got That Bag University also in a hoodie as well. It could be white, green, brown, you name it, you can choose it. Is right there, guys. But man, that's all I have for today, Cliff, man. Guys, have a good rest of the weekend and the day. Hey, if you're married, go love on your boo, right? If you got kids, man, go love on your kids. If you're by yourself, man, watch a movie or something. Chill a little bit. But before you leave and while you can, you see that thing, guys, take that damn picture and give it to your mom and them and holler at your partner. God bless you guys. See you next time. Peace.